So here's just one very simple idea. And you can, as I say, incorporate anything else you like into it. I'll show you how I did that. As you can see, it's metallic as well as brown, and I've put some black in it, and I did a little stone there as well. Let's put this gorgeous young man in. I think he'll suit one rather well. By the way, you can certainly do, you know, more boyish ones, call them princes or elves, or, you know, you just call them what they want to be called, really, and just do it. So there's several things you can do. One is a sort of traditional headband. So I might take, say, a brown or a gold, you know, it doesn't really matter what. Just go for your favourite colours. It could be that, it could be that. I think in a way, as much as I love using metallics, I think some flat colours might work better as a background. And also the detail you put on top will show a bit more. But it could look like leather. A lot of hairbands are leather. Some are, as I say, made of metal or whatever. So let's have a go with this. I'm just going to get one of my flat brushes. This is my flat square. It's the Juliet Eve collection. This is a 5/8 flat square. And I'm going to pick up, I definitely want some of the lighter colour. Although, do you know what? I think I'll go for that lighter colour. Let's try this. So it's got a light colour which can be sort of maybe in the middle. There we go. So you can literally do a sort of scoop that way, or you can do it coming down to a point. Let's try that. So again, depending on that particular child's face. So I can come down maybe like that. And let's do the other side. As I say, it's something that you can play with and change things up. And maybe I could reverse it and make it a slightly wider band. I don't want it too wide, so I'm going to actually overlap the dark colour. Like that. And that. Let's bring this down to a point, and then I can decorate that with a design. So I'm going to leave that one to dry for the moment, and come back to another one. Let's use this. And I'm going to be jumping around a bit just so that they get a chance to dry. I think it helps a bit. So on this one, we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to do a kind of twirly thing. You could use a liner for this. Again, this is the Juliet Eve collection. This is a liner. And I'm going to do this in, I think, silver. Let's do it in silver. Again, what colour you choose is entirely up to you. Now I'm going to take my silver. I'm going to work it up first of all with a different brush, simply because I want to make a really good creamy mix. Silvers I recommend, by the way, are either Maron. Their silver is fabulous, but also Superstar do a really good silver as well. All the rest are a bit too watery, but these ones get very, very creamy. Right, I'm going to do it in yellow just for the sake of the film, all right? Otherwise you're not going to be able to see it. My apologies. Right, let's give that another go. That's not going to work. All right, got my liner. This could be gold, it could be silver. On a face, on the day, silver and gold work beautifully, but, you know, on camera it's always a bit dodgy. So this is one of my liners, my Juliet Eve collection liner. So, centre, you can paint a jewel or you can stick one on if you like. If you've got a bit of body glue with you. I've got a few little things here, I'll just show you these. So there's even there's a little skull there you could use, or just a little jewel you can stick on, or even smaller. Or there's a lovely big red one. I like those. These might work nicely for sort of how they don't want too much, for instance. So we've got that for starters. Now, what we're going to do is cross over there and there. Okay. And then I'm going to, let's get this right. This line can literally go all the way over to there, and this one to here. All right. Now we can then make some little marks. So I can do a mark. I want to make a kind of little square here. So again, I do lots of dots. Dot there, dot there. And then I can literally take that and that. So we've got a little shape there. Then I'm going to put another mark, because this I want to come around. And that one also will come around. But anyway, I'll do that in a second. So this is going to come around like that. But if you want it fairly accurate, then you want to give yourself a marker. So I'll put a marker there, and you've got to do it by eye, and you will do that on the job. But it does help to get the curves. So we'll take a curve like through that mark and join that one. Yeah? Through that and join that. Then another little mark in the middle here. Again, by just putting your little markers, it will help you. Now this one is going to come over here and join to about here. So I'll put another mark there. And again, that distance away there. You'll see that okay? Let's keep it straight. And then I'm going to swell this one around actually, which will come through here. So that is going to come up there, round and through to this. So again, giving yourself markers, that will help you to space them out nicely. Right. And again, once you've done this a few times, you'll get the hang of it and it won't be so difficult, I promise. Right, so this is going to end up over there. So I want to go like that, around and there. Maybe up like that. Okay, same goes. So it's going to come up from there, around, through there and away. And we want it to be about that height. So if it helps, you can put another dot. So it comes to the same height as that one. So we'll come up, around there. Right, so that it's approximately symmetrical. Again, nobody's looking for perfection. And if it isn't, you can always add a thickness below the line or above the line, depending on where it was missing, as it were. So we've now got a nice crisscross here. And this one, let's take another little circle like that. All right, and the same on this side. And there we go. And I mean, you can, you know, that is a very basic one, which I think works really well. I'll thicken it up on the inside of that one, but I think this is a little bit lower, so I'm going to thicken it up on the higher side on that one. And then they begin to match a bit better. You can do little knots here and here if you want, so it looks like it's sort of wrapped around a bit. And now we can add some jewels. So literally you could stick a jewel there if you wanted, if you like sticking on bling, or you could get a little a small brush and add a jewel. So I'll have a light colour and a dark. Actually, I actually want it that way around. I want the dark on the outside. And then we can just put a jewel here. Something like that. It's perhaps not dark enough on the outside. Anyway, again, it doesn't matter. You can add your own jewels. And maybe one isn't enough. Maybe it needs a tiny one somewhere else. So I could maybe add just a little one dangling down here. And a little one here. You could even have a little one dangling there maybe. And there. And before you know it, you've got yourself a little design. Then what you could do is add, this is some Maron glitter mark or any other liquid bling, and you could just add some dots with that. By the way, I always keep a pin in my kit because sometimes these do block up if you haven't used them for a little while. It's not blocked, it's just dried at the tip there. So I always keep that in my pen, and let's just always check it on the back of your hand. But you know, you could add some jewels like this, just dot it around. You could even put dots as a kind of setting for the jewel you've put in. Right, so there we go, there's one. That's one idea. You can put a bit of base of some eyeshadow on with your paint, but that just gives you an idea. Just doing twirly lines, but give yourself those little guidelines and then you can get it a bit symmetrical. I'll get a dark brown. And let's take a central line. This is again my liner. I could put, say, a pentagon. I could have some half moons, crescent moons. These are just sort of the symbols you could add. Again, use your favourite symbols. Find some nice pagan symbols if you want. You can even make a big circle around this. Then I could say, if I get my, again, a little flat, for a very simple pattern. Because again, I'm really looking at things you can do on the job, but you could literally just stamp these arrows, chevrons, from the center line. You can add some patterns onto the crescent moons, if you like. Crisscrossing them perhaps. Sometimes it's easier to use a flat like this, you know, just to stamp rather than trying to draw the lines, that sort of thing. I could add some what else have we got? Let's put some, I don't know, we could put some it's just whatever patterns you can think of that you can achieve quickly. And I think it needs, what should we put down here? Let's put another crescent moon there. There we go. So again, it's just another idea. You can fill this in if you like, or not. Sometimes it's easier to fill in with a flat. Fill in the whole thing if you want. Or maybe I can put some tiny little twirly lines, do some circles, overlapping circles with the gold. This is interference bronze, which is super favourite for all year round, particularly Halloween, I guess. Just makes things look so much better. Anyway. I think it just highlights everything, doesn't it? Let me just show you another one I did a little bit earlier on as well. Some other things to it. Red background, have a purple band you could put, and then I've put barbed wire, some little skulls and things like that. So, you know, you just have to keep thinking of what other items you could add. And this one I did with a simple idea of I started with the brown actually and then highlighted with the gold. So you've got the shadows there already. I put some other symbols on top and again another jewel. So I hope there's a few ideas there for you, that just doing headbands rather than a classic crown, you know, have it more of a headband.